Hyakkimaru was nearly stripped of his entire body. Eyes, limbs, even his skin. His entire life was stolen from him and bartered to demons instead. And yet, through the grace of a few generous souls and chance meetings, what stands in the child's place is anything but a lame run. Like a wounded beast refusing to die, he set out on a quest to regain his body. This intense drive to continue, even when there's no guarantee of a quiet life after, is impressive and telling of Hyakkimaru's spirit. However, as cruel as this entire ordeal seems, he's still human, and that unwavering spirit at times reflects the very demons he hunts. With each fight and the scars they bring, his true nature is slowly uncovered. Hyakkimaru's quest to regain his body poses the question if perhaps he'll be more demon at the end of it all. Or maybe this is what pure, unbridled humanity looks like after all. Of course, I'm sure many of you are thinking of Nietzsche's quote on fighting monsters and the abyss, and I can definitely see how it can be applied to Hyakkimaru. Though, I want to push it further, beyond the obvious implications of his predicament as a demon hunter. When I consider the abyss in the situation, I can't help but see it in both Lord Daigo and Hyakkimaru. What he did to his son was monstrous, that's clear. But it was a decision that benefited his subjects. Power was always in his mind. He's a lord after all. But the deal he made allowed his lands to enjoy prosperity. And with that prosperity, it supported an army that kept war outside its borders. The blessings enjoyed by the people are from a demon, yes, but they are blessings in the end. The tragedy behind Hyakkimaru's quest to regain the life that was stolen from him is that it will, unfortunately, disturb many others along the way. Do I think Hyakkimaru is personally responsible? No. What I see are the ugly implications brought up with both of their circumstances. Save the many like Daigo did, and you risk completely destroying someone's life, or in this case, the chance to one in the first place. However, Hyakkimaru's demon purge will probably leave the people back to where they were 16 years ago. Even if the story places the two at opposite ends, the guarantee of suffering and the dilemma holds them together in that regard. If it's one thing the series is keen on showing, it's suffering, as it's woven into the very scenery and stories. The scars of war, famine, and sickness mark the faces of its denizens. Even the drab color palette adds to the idea of desolation and imperfection of the all-too-human existence. This is something that even Hyakkimaru comes to slowly learn throughout the story. So far, the episodes go like this. Hyakkimaru and Dororo make their way to a demon. Hyakkimaru fights and wins against it. Then he gains a body part or function back. The interesting part, though, is how the restoration goes, because it's not a neat process at all. Each time is a painful ordeal that actually hampers his fighting ability. When he killed the monster Bandai in episode 2, he regained his ability to sense pain. An inconvenient thing for a killing machine, I'd think. When his hearing returned, the first sound that met his ears was a crashing rainstorm. These inconveniences that come with having a real body is something he struggles with, but it's with those very ears that he could hear Mio's song. It's that opposition I find beautiful, because even when pain and suffering are guarantees along his road, the joys also find their way in. Of course, existence is much more complex than a simple division of good and bad. The cost of living isn't an easy tally at all. But it's in the face of that uncertainty, Hyakkimaru's willingness to walk is such a remarkable thing to watch. But it isn't surprising to me when I see the help he's gotten along the way. It's through the selfless acts by others that allowed Hyakkimaru to escape certain death and live on. But even his benefactors have been stained one way or another by cruelty. Dr. Jukai himself wasn't exactly the pure humanitarian that'd be expected of his name. The guy was crucifying people after all. Even with Dororo and Mio, they aren't evil themselves, but they have had their run-ins. With everything the series throws at the viewer, it makes it easy to question why bother helping in the first place. But it's also got an answer ready too. Yes, the characters walk dark, lonely paths, but funnily enough, they're together in that fact. When they helped Hyakkimaru, those were moments where they lifted their own heads to see a fellow wanderer along the way. Each of them offered in their own way. With Jukai, he gave him arms and legs so that he could follow others. Dororo gave an extra voice to listen to, even if it gets annoying from time to time. Mio gave calm and respite, in the face of a chaotic world that he was discovering. Of course, Hyakkimaru was able to return the generosity to those he met through providing some semblance of redemption, companionship, or hope. Each act of kindness was where they chose to cross paths, allowing them to walk together, some staying longer than others, and sharing the burden of life. All of them were incomplete, but in putting out a part of themselves, it's able to live on in the person that receives it. Riding on that benevolence, when Hyakkimaru finally gets his body back, I don't think everything is just gonna wrap up neatly, but that's fine. A morally ambiguous ending would fit much better with how everything started, in my eyes. It seems that the show sees life as only possible under this unpleasant but necessary condition. The fact that it's one of perpetual need, which is sustained by taking. As cruel as it may sound, the series provides an optimistic possibility that accepts the strife and suffering, because it allows people to have a chance to give back what they took, or share it with others. When Daigo took on the demon's power, and acted as if it was his own, it did let him forget how small he actually was, but the fear and loneliness always lingered at the back of his mind. At the end of all this, if Hyakkimaru finally gets his eyes back, and becomes able to see the world that he's been living in for so long, I hope that, at the very least, he'll be able to recognize his small self in the middle of it all. 情熱の日はいつしかいつの日にか